What's up everyone? We're back and I'm super excited about today's video. I made Bo Peep's lamp from Toy Story 4 and I got to do something super cool with it, and it's probably my favorite thing I've gotten to do Toy Story wise so far. Not too many people know this, but the actual antique store in Toy Story 4, Second Chance Antiques, was actually based on a real life antique store, and I got to bring my lamp down to the antique store and film it in the exact window that Bo's lamp was in Toy Story 4. I'm gonna take you through my entire build process and then we'll head down to the antique store. And in real life, it's actually called LeMarcheEmporium. We'll check out my lamp in the front window of the antique store, and then we'll also head inside and I'll show you around in there too. I also just released all of my lamp files so you too can make one of these, and I'm gonna walk you through right now how I went about making it so you can make one as well. All right, well, we've got a lot of ground to cover in this video, so let's get into it. This is actually my second version of this lamp I made. The first one I made actually before Toy Story 4 came out. They changed the look of the lamp and Bo Peep for Toy Story 4 compared to Toy Story 1 when she originally showed up, and I decided to try to create a blend between the two to kind of like make it somewhat accurate to both versions. Once the movie came out, I ended up liking the Toy Story 4 version a lot more, so I decided to just rebuild the thing from the ground up. You'll notice the first lamp is overall bigger. The base is flatter, the lampshade is bigger as well. The base also is a different color and the flowers didn't light up either. The first thing you collectors are probably going to notice is this was designed specifically for the signature collection Bo Peep and Sheep. For those of you who don't know what the signature collection line is, that is the collector's line they came out with for the movie and released a few different toys in that line. So the entire scale and dimensions of this lamp is based around the Bo Peep's height that we got, so it could look just like it did in the movie. I poured over a ton of screenshots from the movie and measured everything on the screen over and over again to come up with these dimensions. I wanted to make sure it had all the features from the movie as well. So of course it lights up like a normal lamp, and the base lights up as well. And the base here is 3D printed along with the pole and this little knob on top. And the lampshade here is just made out of like your typical lampshade materials. And if anybody wants to make their own, I've already uploaded all the files of MakerWorld, so I'll put the link in the description below. I also have a detailed build guide in there that has everything listed you'll need to know how to make it, including a full parts list. All right, let's go through how I made this so you can see how I went about making it. The very first thing I had to do, obviously, was to go model the lamp on the computer, which I already did a long time ago. I also had to draw the lampshade graphic. Here's a look at my model I had done, and then also my graphic. Once I had all that stuff finished, I can go ahead and send everything off to the printers. Now that we've got all those parts printed, we can go ahead and start sanding. Here's a glimpse at what the raw parts look like once I have printed them and glued together like any pieces that needed to be assembled. I went ahead and skipped all of the sanding. I don't think anybody wants to watch me sand my life away. I know I don't want to have to sit through my own sanding again. Sanding is the most miserable part about this whole thing. I end up contemplating all my life's choices and wonder why I signed up to go outside and sand for another 10 hours again. But nonetheless, bunch of sanding, a bunch of filler primer coats later, we're here and ready to paint. All the parts are smoothed out and primered, so this is the fun part where we can sit down and airbrush everything. When it comes to the paint job and the differences between Toy Story 1 and 4, it's not just the color, but there's a lot of different shading and multiple colors. There's like lighter greens, darker greens, a little bit of yellow, maybe a little white coming through. So it's really important to make sure I could get like various degrees of shading. So that's why I am painting this one with my airbrush. And I'm gonna go pretty light and then just start layering the colors on top of each other. I'll go in with some lighter greens, a darker green, and then just building up the color on top will darken some areas. And I actually want to let some white come through in some areas so it's not just heavy green all over. We want some of those lighter and brighter colors to show. Because of that, I'm not gonna just like go heavy-handed right away. It's a lot easier to make things darker than it is to make things lighter again. So it's just going to be a lot of coats going in back and forth between different kinds of greens. And we're just going to build up that shading over multiple coats. I've already got some details sculpted into the base. I'm going to go in and shade around the sculpting I did to make those features pop a little bit better as well. So around the flowers and the petals is maybe the most consistent, like darker spots. So I'm also going to go a little heavy-handed with a darker green around the flowers to help give those some more texture as well. And I'm super happy with that how it turned out. You'll notice the color's a little bit flat right now. So what I'm going to do is use my clear coat to make the colors pop a little bit better and get the finish a little bit more shinier. But we'll go ahead and do that in the very last step. Now I've got to paint the bottom blue, and you'll also notice that it's not really a solid blue. There is a little bit of kind of white speckles throughout. So I'm going to use the white primer to my advantage here, and I'm basically going to paint this blue but not be super consistent in my spray, and almost basically paint it how I would and leave it a coat short, so that way there's still some white popping through, and I'll use that for like my white speckly kind of almost like marbled paint look. I'll also go a little heavier in spots. You'll see it's a little splotchy, but that's actually the look we're going for. So I need to try to resist and not correct it and just let it kind of organically turn out. So I'll actually go a little bit like heavy-handed in some spots and basically spray it unevenly. It's a little difficult to almost like paint it poorly, but this is actually the look we're going for, so we're going to use it to our benefit. You'll notice the base is also looking pretty flat here, so we'll clear coat this as well at the end all at once when we have everything done to get that more glossy appearance. As for the flowers, since they're so small, I decided to just print them in color. Especially with Bo, I'm going to clear coat over them so it'll have a matching glossy finish as the rest of the base. They're also so small, and they're going to be under Bo and the sheep, that nobody's going to be able to see any layer lines or any unevenness in the flowers. There's going to be plenty of enough other things for other people to look at, and unless you're like 6 inches away from it, you will not notice that the flowers were just 3D printed. So I'm going to just printed the petals in white, the centers in yellow, and now I'm adding the clear spot in the center of the flowers because we're going to be putting in lights underneath each flower, and that'll allow the lights to shine through the flowers. I've got to glue all these flowers together ahead of time, so then that way when we glue them down into the base, it'll be easier than trying to assemble it all on the base and risk damaging any of our hard painted work at this point. Now I'll just go ahead and glue all these flowers in one by one. And again, I'm gluing all these in before we clear coat it, because then that way I can just clear coat this whole base at once, and it'll really like blend in all the colors to have like one sheen finish. All right, so we're going to take this off the clear coat. I don't want to risk trying to light it now. I want to get this paint job clear coated and protected, so when I have to flip it upside down to wire underneath it, I do not want to scratch up our paint job because I'm super happy with how it turned out. Clear coating is pretty simple. I just spray paint it. So we've got the knob clear coated, and we'll do 2 to 3 coats, and you'll see that it's gonna blend all the pieces together really well, and it'll look like it has that more glossy sheen to it. I didn't glue the blue base on yet because I've got to run all the lights and wiring inside the lamp. So that'll be the very last thing we do, is glue the blue base onto the green grass part of the base. Done a couple coats, you can see it's already starting to get a lot more glossy, and it looks more like how it should look in the movie. All right, so I'm gonna let those dry really well for a couple days, and you can tell the sheen's a lot better, and I'm super happy with how this turned out. All right, now the lampshade. This is the most stressful part. So what I do is I drew the lampshade graphic on the computer, and I got it sent off to a fabric printing company, and they printed it to spec how I needed it. And then I need to also create the pink rings around the lampshade. They're so thick that that's not really a part that exists. So I 3D printed rings. I'm going to wrap them in pink fabric, and then we're going to glue those on the lampshade. Oh, and the lampshade, I also, since it's custom size, I couldn't buy this dimension lampshade off of a store shelf. So I had to send this to a lamp making company and get them to make me a blank, exactly scaled lampshade that we need. And now this brings us to the most stressful part of the build, and no matter how many I've made, it never gets any easier. I have to glue this fabric onto the lampshade correctly, and it's difficult because I use a spray adhesive and it's not super forgiving. You've only got like a couple minutes of working time, and after that you're going to start peeling the lampshade apart. You really only have one shot to get it right, so I've got to be super careful and make sure I get it right the first time. Because of that, I didn't record it. We're just gonna I had to make sure I got the lampshade done correctly because it's a very expensive mistake to make. So fortunately, it turned out perfect and it all aligned up correctly. Now we'll just get the pink rings on. I'm going to slide that on over the lampshade, and then I'm going to go around the ring gluing it together so it stays on there. Now that the bottom's done, got to do the same thing for the top. Roll the pink fabric around it, and now I'm going to clamp it down and glue it on. And there's the lampshade. I'm going to set that aside for a bit. And while that's drying, I'll circle back to the lamp base and we're going to add all the lights into it. So I've got just a set of fairy lights, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to put one light in each hole on the bottom, and you'll see they light up pretty good. So it's going to take a minute. I'm going to hot glue one light into each flower. The lights I use actually have 9 different settings, so there's a whole bunch of different looks you can do with it, but I typically just keep it on the all lit up one since that was the only way it was lit up in the movie. And it doesn't have quite that flicker. It's a steady light. It's just the video that is making it seem like the lights are flickering more than they are. So now I'm going to take my lamp pole that I printed and painted, and we're going to assemble it with the actual lamp fittings and turn this into a real lamp pole now. So I've got to run this wire through the base, then through the pole. It's always hard fishing it all the way up there. There's not a ton of space in there to work with. Once I fish those wires out, we connect it. We got to tie a knot so in case someone trips over the lamp, a wire doesn't yank loose and then you've creating an electrical fire. Bo's already been through enough of those.
I think it's too small. It's fine.
Though the absolute biggest challenge was the hazardous working conditions.
It's really easy. You just put each wire around a screw on the light socket and then it's all set to work. I'll give it a test before I glue everything down to make sure I did it correctly, and looks like we are all good. So we can start doing our final assembly and gluing everything together permanently. And one of the last things to do is I've created the knob on the top, which clamps down the lampshade to the harp. Now we can glue down the base. This is another somewhat stressful point because I don't want to get any glue anywhere, and the glue dries fairly quickly, so I want to make sure it lays down evenly. And for those of you who are gonna go try to make your own lamp, I have a full build guide as well in my lamp files, and it's a lot more detailed, and it'll go over all of the supplies and a full parts list so you know where to get everything. And of course, if you guys have any questions, I'm more than happy to help walk you through anything you're stuck on or any advice you need. So don't hesitate to reach out. I'm here to help. All right, so now that we've got a fully done lamp, let's head down to the antique store. The antique store in Toy Story 4 was called Second Chance Antiques, but in real life this store is called LeMarcheEmporium. It's located in Martinez, California, which is in the San Francisco Bay Area, about 45 minutes northeast of Emeryville, which is where Pixar is located. When Pixar came in to check out the antique store when beginning production on Toy Story 4, the antique store was actually called Old Town Antiques back then. The name has changed since the movie released, but it is still the same antique store. The heaviest part of inspiration from the movie is definitely the front of the antique store from outside. You'll notice the windows are basically the same. The doors really the same. The tile under the windows is exactly the same. You'll see there's a lot of heavy inspiration from the front, which is amazing because the window's basically exactly how it was in Toy Story 4. So it made it really awesome for having the perfect, like, accurate display to put Bo Peep's lamp in. The store itself is really amazing. The owners, Anita and Peggy, were so kind to allow me to come film in their store. So I'll show you more around here. Definitely want to come check them out. There's actually quite a few things that inspired Toy Story 4. You'll notice right away the doors have a very distinct style to them, and that was reflected in Toy Story 4 as well. You'll see on the right side there's the black and white tiles on the floor, which we've seen throughout the antique store as well. We'll go walk up into the corner where we've got Bo's lamp set up. And you can actually see across the street in the movie, this is where the carnival was, across the street, but actually here in the real antique store, it's just a parking lot. But fun fact, the carnival is based on a real life carnival called the Walnut Festival. And it's in a city 20 minutes south of Martinez and like a half hour east of where Pixar is. This year will be the 90th anniversary of it. Every year they have a festival, kind of carnival. That was always a very big tradition. So you'll see in the credits as well that the Walnut Festival had inspired the look for the carnival. And I'll just take you around the rest of the store. It's really cool, just not even Toy Story related, seeing all the different types of old stuff that they have curated and for sale there. And even for us toy lovers, there are other toys there as well. But it's really neat just getting to walk around and check everything out. Another unique thing that they think inspired the movie was the very high ceilings in the building. And there's actually a staircase along the side that you can go up to a loft. And looking down, you really get a bird's eye view and a sense of scale that I think comes across pretty clearly in Toy Story 4. And you will also see some other fun Disney things scattered throughout the store. When I was there during filming this, they had a whole Snow White display out front, and I love Snow White, so this was really cool to see. And this completely surprised me. I had no idea when I went in there, but you'll recognize right away that they have the cash register that was the same cash register that was behind the counter in Second Chance Antiques. This was another just really cool thing to get to see there. Live in the area or plan on visiting the area, I highly suggest going and stopping by. Since this is an animated movie, there's not too many real life Toy Story places you can visit. Really, this is the biggest one. And it's a pretty unique experience to get to physically set foot into the world of Toy Story. Almost finished with making them their own personal lamp, and Bo Peep and her lamp are going to live there permanently in the store window. This is going to be a really cool Toy Story place for you guys to come visit, so I highly suggest going and checking them out. All right, so that's going to do it for this one. I think one of my favorite things about prop making is getting to bring something to life that only existed on a screen before. And getting to bring it to the actual place it was from in the movie just only makes it more special to me. If you like this video, please like and subscribe. I've got a lot more cool stuff in the works, so you won't want to miss what's coming up. And you can also follow me on social media at Brush It Off Props so you can keep up on everything I'm currently making. And one last thing, I'm also going to do my first giveaway. I'm going to give away a set of Ducky and Bunny signature collection toys. I know we'll have a lot of new Toy Story fans and collectors going into Toy Story 5, so I wanted to help somebody out get started with their toy collection. Make sure you're subscribed to the channel and drop a comment down below with your favorite Toy Story character, and I'll go ahead and pick somebody random. To make things easy, I'll announce the winner on the morning Toy Story 5 comes out, which is June 19th. And I'll go ahead and pin the comment down below so you guys will see who won. All right, well, thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next video.